Okay, it's been a while. Having to deal with day jobs and things like that, and frankly, there are a lot of people online doing what we're doing, but I never quite see what I'm saying out there, and so I want to, you know, break it down again. So, uh, a lot. It's crazy what's going on right now. Obviously, everyone knows it. Everyone has seen it, read about it, listened to it. And I want to talk about the ugly American, the uglier American, the ugliest one. And everyone knows what that means, or what it used to mean, what it's supposed to mean. And I invite people to subscribe. It's in the description there below, and it helps us get by. Even though we're really, really scraping the bottom here, we have no infrastructure, a little better background. People who've commented in the past might appreciate. Um, but the ugly American, yeah. Now, one thing is that if there was any doubt, right, and obviously the guy won the election, such as we call elections. A lot of people voted against his opponents and not against him. Uh, uh, but times change and reality changes. This is like, I don't care how much I had against Biden or Kamala or the Democratic Party or, I don't know, uh, certain flavors of ice cream, whatever. It's the past. And the person who is in charge right now and the cabal that is in charge is the enemy. That's how this works. You don't, if you thought you were electing the savior and it didn't happen, you can cry or go home or just turn off the any channels. But the point is, you were wrong or you weren't right, and the people and things opposed to you are still in charge. And so you have to speak against what's wrong anyway. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Truth is truth, and if you're in the fight, then you have to speak up against things that are going wrong, and a lot of things are going wrong. So the point is, the only thing this dude was right about is gone now. Okay, so this is the wrong side of history. The right side of history. The only thing was that Russia. He even if you realized that he had no problem with serving fascist uh, uh, weapons procurements for neo-Nazis in Kiev. He had no qualm against blowing up Nord Stream 2. He had nothing against sanctioning and vilifying Russia. He just thought it was a waste of money because we really need to focus on China. Okay, fine. So, but that's gone. That's gone now. Now he's off his rocker, sending, moving nuclear subs because, Medvedev said something bad. I mean, but it was a tiny window, but it's closed or slammed shut with his excellent nakedness, joining the neocon juggernaut in full steam. Right? And it comes out that he's the one who said to donors last year, if she does something, I told she, if you go into Taiwan, I'll bomb the shit out of Beijing. And I told Putin, if you do more in Kiev, then I'll bomb the shit out of Moscow. Like, who is this guy? And by the way, this includes Epstein too. Right, that's part of the newness and part of the readjustment of what this reality means. You can't, if you were on board because, I mean, really, if you were gullible enough to have voted for his self-lovingness, fine. But if you were stupid enough to think he would actually expose the list of Jeff, then you deserve it. Duh. He's on it. How is he gonna expose anything? But the worry about the ruling class, about how the elite can do whatever they want, all of that was on point. And about the past with the Clintons and everyone else in power, and the lack of prosecution, lack of thoroughness in terms of bringing people who matter to justice. Yeah, that was right, and that's why it's not going away. But you know what? Now he's the current president, and my theory is that it's partly to be lazy. I admit. Worst president is the current president. That's how it goes. It's easy, but it's also the stages of late dying empire capital. That this is, the worst one is the one that's in charge now, because they're doing all the bad things that they have to do to try to keep their money and their power and that of their benefactors and our masters. I also say that every president is a war criminal, right? So the best president is the one who served the least. So that would be William Henry Harrison, 31 days, got pneumonia, and he died. That was back when the inauguration was in March. So wow, man, that's brutal. Anyway, Trump is beyond that. Beyond 100 days, beyond. So it's it. That's now he can't be the best because he's served. This is his term. These are his wars. This is his economy. And to the extent that you engage in any of this partisan crap, then he owns it. And that is the worst president in history in the making, and the wrong side of history in the making. So. Don't worry, though. He now slips snugly into that role of the ruling class's. What did the guy call it in the history of the world? Piss boy. He's the guy who does what the ruling class wants. He makes a great show, and he's a multimillionaire / billionaire. So he does what he says he thinks. But he's doing the bidding of the ruling class, and that means the old con isn't working. We gotta re-up, pull up the drawbridges, right? Go back to the 1800s, with tariffs and the isolation economically, to make sure that you are not pursuing a integration, that you're just protecting your profits and no one else's. And now the Ted Roosevelt's big stick is the only thing in use. There's no more walking softly. Right. And there's just carrying the big stick. The trouble is that it's not his time, and it's not Kennedy's time. The end of the 50s, the settling of the concept of the ugly American. This is new and different. There are things that are going on that cannot be compared. And the long con has run out of steam, right? The big stick doesn't work right now, because guess what? The other people, they have sticks. They have bigger sticks. So don't go banging your stick. So let's take Russia. He can say anything he wants, and Russia will say exactly what they have been saying every day, in and out for the last 3 years, last 10 years, last 20 years, last 1,000, if you want to count that high. I know Trump likes to, 1,000%. The core issues. The core issues have to be addressed. The same things. Don't bring NATO further east. Don't threaten the integrity of Russia. Don't arm and inflame a fascist regime next door. Don't put NATO troops or your own troops there. All of this was what started the whole thing. When the West cries and cries about how, oh, this is an unprovoked, it was not only provoked, but it was predicted. Putin said 1,000 times and gave a last-ditch effort. Like, look, we're not going to do this. And they say Minsk was a lie. Merkel comes out and says Minsk was a time-buying exercise. There is no doubt anymore. That should be obvious now with China, with Iran. This is the West and the U.S. as the horsemen, all four horsemen of the West, trying to maintain its hegemony. And the fact is they can't anymore. And what they have to do becomes uglier and uglier. So you have this Israel, which is kind of the ultimate end of the war resettlement pact in the guise of freeing all of these colonies from domination and promoting independence. They kind of sneak in this Zionist idea that Hitler's victims deserve their country. That the whole thing is a mess, and it's just a settler colony, and that's the problem. That's what has happened, like has happened to all the other settler colonies, except for the one we're currently living in. So now we have the irony and the arrogance to say, kick out all the immigrants, when that's all we are, is immigrants. Settler colonizers. That's it. That's all that is here. But it's not working for Israel. And the younger generation knows this. They're being scouted and defunded, and kicked out. Everything you can, pepper sprayed, but it's not. You can't unbelieve. You're not allowed to, and the Democrat Party is completely owned by the same interests as well. So it's very hard. It's very hard to push progressive values. We used to say Pepsi, progressive except for Palestine. Now it's Coke, cocaine, Zelensky, Netanyahu. Snort what you want and believe what we say. How's that for a new meme? But going to the ugliness, the ugly part, that's a longer con, I might say. These are cons, right? And since we're being run right now by a con man, or he's the step man for ruling class capital, we should talk about that, which is why I called this the ugly American redux, because this was a realization at the end of the war, when kind of absorbing, liberating, inheriting all of Britain's settler colonies, right? All of this transition to the American empire, and the ugly American. Before it was a meme, before it was a cartoon, before it was, newspeak for gross, dumbass tourists, right? It was about American foreign policy. That was the point of Southeast Asia, going around waving your big stick. And Dulles or whichever of Truman's henchmen, the one who said, I might have one. I might have a nuke in my pocket right now. And how we have nukes, you don't, so F you. And you better do what we say. And I kind of, that started to slow down after 1949, obviously. But the mentality didn't. And what Kennedy came in to strike anew, actually endorsed the book. That's a little known or little remembered thing, that there was a masculinity issue as well, which is really interesting about how Trump takes this so seriously. This was the end of the ugly American, the glad-handing, muscle-wielding enemy who kept people in line. Somoza may be a son of a bitch, but he's our son of a bitch. That kind of thing. But Kennedy was the voice of a new generation, supposedly, and was off to remake that image so that instead of saying you're under our control, to say that we were liberating. That was his announcement, basically. And, of course, I mean, young people, they won't remember. Young people are listening to Hassan, Arabi, whatever. He's Turkish. He's not American. He's Turkish, and I love them. Love the church. Love their coffee. Love their cats. Love what they're doing in Constantinople. Of course, it's not right to say that anymore. Politically incorrect. What's happening in Istanbul, they're calling it. Anyway, fast forward. What he said, let the word go forth from this time and place to friend and foe alike, that the torch has been passed to a new generation of Americans born in this century, tempered by war, disciplined by a hard and bitter peace, proud of our ancient heritage and unwilling to witness or permit the slow undoing of those human rights to which we have always been committed and to which we are committed today at home and around the world. Remember that? People my age do. Well, I don't, but I got it from my older brothers. That's the announcement. Let the word go forth. This was the Peace Corps. This was soft power, basically. And let's be honest, that was the biggest con of all, right? The point is to say, we're better than the commies, right? You can live here. You can live here and you can have one job. The woman should be at home cooking. It doesn't even matter. The woman can work and the guy can be at home, but you only need one job. You can own a house. You can go to college. You can send your kids to college. It's great. This is America. Oops. That lasts for 20 years. No, not even, right? So mid-70s. So that's combined with we're friends of democracy. We have an economic system that sucks, that collapses every 4 to 7 years on average for the last 300. We have no idea. We are balancing this house of cards that depends on oppression and extraction and exploitation. And you're going to be screwed if you buy into this. But the frosting looks great. And we are going to have kids go into Africa and help and teach and bring aid and bring medicine and bring doctors, all this stuff. And that was going to help the image of a global participant, right? And that was to look like the good neighbor, that's the handsome American. And like I said, Kennedy was the harbinger of this also, even before he was elected, when he endorsed the book. And, Cosmopolitan is running a thing on the new masculinity, right? This is how men can be sexy and dominant in the late 50s, early 60s as time goes forward. But obviously, oops, that turned into, okay, USAID and all this other, you can complain about it getting rid of medicine, but you can't complain about getting rid of the notion of undermining all of these countries, right? Overthrowing countries, establishing NGOs that are busy burying in the guise of soft power, are just planning the next coup and the coup after that and the coup after that and the color revolution, and killing people, spying on people. This is a horrific infrastructure, but the disguise, the con, was working. It was good grift. This was because we care. And what's slipping into this newness is ugly American redux. And if you had to pick someone to be the poster boy for that, who would it be? Right? I'm not saying they planned it. They didn't, that's no Steele dossier. They didn't groom Trump for this, but it's perfect. Because the one who says what no one else dares say, but wants to, get rid of them, fire that woman. Who cares? The ugly uncle, the disgusting. And how does, Epstein fit into all this? Of course, pedophilia. These are people who can do whatever they want to you and your kids. Don't forget that. Don't ever forget that. Just remember, when you're looking for a solution, he's not the one. In fact, he's one of the doers. Of course, people were right to hate the ruling class and the fact that they get away with everything and that they stop justice from being applied to anyone in their class. But you have to understand also that he's one of them. And what is this immigration thing? That's nothing new either. But it's new in the sense of the ugly American. These are enemies, foreign and domestic. This is not a civil war, like people like to say. This is oppression. This is the ruling class come home, kick people off the roost because they belong there. Because our shit didn't work out in Indonesia, so we're coming back home and we're owning everyone here. You get out. You get out. If they're brown, let's be honest. Be honest. This is what I demand from people who are saying that, oh, this is a big deal. People are worried about their own jobs. So first of all, that's never been true. Immigrants don't steal jobs. They do jobs that no one of us wants to do, like our grandparents did. Exactly. And great-grandparents, if you're no longer eligible for an EU passport. But everyone else is in that sub category. Immigrants and sons and daughters and great-grandchildren of immigrants. You're lying. You have people, from Germany and Poland who go to Arizona and tell people whose ancestors have been living there for 500 years that they got to go back where they came from. It's always been stupid, and this is just kicking the dog. Don't get it twisted. They're not after what was it? The pedophiles are running the country. The illegal immigrants are coming in modeling contracts from Eastern Europe, and they're marrying them. So what is it? Oh, the drug cartels and the drug kingpins and all of that. These cartels are given power by the massive use of these drugs in American society. In other words, Oxy did not create the cartels. That's just it happened inside right? Where are the, I guess all the doctors should be in jail, whatever. But also, they're not going after criminals. They lied to you. They lied. Of course, who wants, drug dealers and rapists not to be caught and put in jail, right? You'd have to be stupid to disagree with that. But what you are watching now is that it's not the kingpins. It's your brownish neighbor and family, friends, wives, children. Help, getting closer. And that's what it means. It's you. ICE, you're next. You think, what are they going to go after? Poor people? Homeless people? Poor people? People who no longer have jobs because they got kicked out by rollback of all the protections that were granted under the New Deal. It's a rollback they started as in 1948 with Taft-Hartley. And they're rolling it and rolling it and rolling it back. And in 1990, after the demise of the Soviet Union, it skyrocketed. You have one statistic like percentage of American households who are married, both married and home owning. And you watch it, go steadily down from the 50s. And then 1990, boom, off the charts. Because they came home then, too. The ruling class said, thank God we don't need to worry about this social democrat crap anymore. We don't need to give them anything. Ugh, that was so annoying with the rising wages and the benefits and all that crap and regulations. No. We don't need to worry about any socialist alternative or any alternatives at all. And that's when the ugly American came back. But this is the real deal. This guy. And I remember for a long time, just ignoring the person. Well, come on, personality, personality doesn't mean that you can't be just a Republican, just a Democrat. This is not a system anyway. It's a complete crock. And so voting against people's personalities is like voting for the prom king and queen, high school, just crap. But why personality matters is when it comes to roost where the storms collide. And that is when the person is the embodiment of this ugly, disgusting, rapist, abuser, warmonger, thief, liar, cheater. That's what America is. In the guise of the rest of the world, and thinking he's on your side is really stupid. And also naive. Like, watch it. Turn around, watch your back door, make sure they're not coming in. Because they're coming for all of us. And now you have what you've had. This is not new either. Russia, China, and Iran. The idea of BRICS. This is the other thing. What I said about the big stick. What I said about, the competition. The being different. This was never true back then. Even when, the Soviets posed a military bulwark, but never an economic one. There was never anything in the way. Now, BRICS is real and it's overdue. Not overdue, but it has been building for 30 years. This is not new, and Trump is not the cause of any of this. That's what the point is. This is beyond Trump. This is beyond the Democrats. It's beyond the U.S. It's even beyond communism or socialism or Russia or anything. This is the crisis. This is the end of capital. They can't do it. And what they do when they contract in this coming recession, is going to be bad because they have nothing else. They don't have anything left. And the threats and tariffs can't work. First of all, their tariffs are taxes on American consumers. So it's, this is the party that has always tried to pretend that they are the anti-tax party, and they're in pursuit of the biggest taxes anyone has ever seen, which we're going to pay. They're not going to pay them. I don't know if they buy eggs. I don't know. They make their own eggs or whatever. It's a genetic displacement. Who the hell knows? But that is real now. BRICS represents half the world, right? And 35% of total GNP, something like that. Total, yeah, like it is an actual thing. All they are doing is what they should be doing and what they have been doing. This has been in the works for a long time, and its own making by whichever junta was in charge in London, in Washington, in Brussels, in whatever, right? Whatever happened is coming true. These are all of the consequences that are coming to a head now. And the result is BRICS, the result is de-dollarization, the result is a lower standard of living in the empire, and the result is an enormous increase in repression within the belly of the beast. So stay tuned. I wish again, subscribe if you can, that'll help. If you want to buy a coffee or two, if you want to buy several coffees, maybe you can get this thing. What is my point? Okay, my Irish songbook there. There you go. Anyway, I'll put it in the description. But I don't want to talk too long because I know people go back and forth on their channels for whatever else is new. There are some things I wanted to mention that I didn't. Can't think of anything right off the back of my hand or the top of my head or top of the back of my hand and head. Whatever. So, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. My new handle is I Am the Rebel. That's from Patrick Pierce, because we have to be the rebel. I say to my people's masters, beware, beware the thing that is coming. Beware the risen people who shall take what you would not give. Have a good day.